When I sleep at night, uh, I dream very vividly, and sometimes I'll come out of a dream, and there'll be a name involved with the dream, or a phrase, and I'm like, I go get up, I pee, I go back and I lay there, and I'm like trying to think where was the phrase from, and a lot of it's from Seinfeld, uh, the tougher shows, the shows that really move fast, and the people talk very fast. Uh, I won't say it's MASH, but it's basically it'll be Monk or a show like that, or something that's very intricate, and the person will say a saying, and or it's winner winner chicken dinner. All right, there's a guy on the internet that I watch, and the other day or maybe it was an older video, he had the batteries leak on his voltmeter. I'm thinking about mine that's why I put it in front of me. Try to remember to open this up. I checked the batteries. When the batteries leaked, he took it all apart. He cleaned the display and everything. But in other words, when it starts working, he's got a great personality, and I like the way he repairs because he really gets in there. And then sometimes he says, "I got to send away and get a new part," or he draws the line in different places. But anyway, whenever he gets at work and he says, "Winner, winner, chicken dinner," so I'll be doing something or going for a walk, and all of a sudden that'll get in my mind, "Winner, winner, chicken dinner," and I'm like, "What? Why am I thinking about that?" Well, what your brain does, it sorts things out, and it throws away what it doesn't want. It sort of keeps things. And it does this to me all the time. And I always figure out what it was going to throw away. And then, of course, me thinking about it, it doesn't throw away winner, winner, chicken dinner. And then the AXE guy, um, he's got a lot of different phrases. I can't think of one right now. But in other words, that happens to me all day long. These different phrases come through my head. And I try to think back where I heard it from, who said it. And it could be someone in the neighborhood. But last night, I got up to take a pee, and as I woke up, Nebro, 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 Nebro. So I pee, I go back to bed, and I'm laying in bed, and I'm saying Nebro over my head, and I come up with a couple other words similar. I'm like, no, it's Nebro. That seems really familiar to me. Now, what Nebro is two different things. A very similar name, Nebro Brothers, I think it was Kearney. They were my garbage guy for a building complex that I cleaned out by myself. And the guy never wanted to take the garbage, even though we were paying him. And then finally one day he told me he wasn't able to pay the tip fee. In other words, to dump your garbage truck out, you want to have it full because you got to pay the same fee whether it's full or half empty. So anyway, he started crying to me. He doesn't have enough customers. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be helping me clean this building out. And he kept hoping I would find something that he could take to the salvage yard and make money. He was a pain in the ass. But his name was Nebro, very close to that. But Nebro was one of my first people. That's his nickname for his, in other words, online. His online name was Nebro. In my conference, he built one of my CNC machines. And I must have been thinking about the CNC machines in the dream. And Nebro came. Now there would be Nebro, Steve Manzer. He built one of my machines. There's another guy that made guitars. There's another guy that showed up at my house in Jersey and gave me some money to get by until I sold the house. There's all these people, and they run. Every once in a while I think about them, and you say, you're never going to, like Steve Manzer, once in a while he drops in this channel and leaves a message. But you meet all these people in life, and then you don't see them anymore. Now, we had three of us in Rets, and we vowed to keep in touch. And the one guy did. And then he died. And then I wasn't hearing from him anymore. And then when I went online looking for him, I found out that he was dead. And then there was another guy, I couldn't locate him because he had moved to Pennsylvania. Then one day he dropped into my channel here, and now he's dead. But anyway, we vowed to keep in touch. Now, I used to keep in touch with Bill through Now I'm going to take and forget his name. Oh my God, it sucks getting old. Vodzik, Thomas Vodzik. And Thomas used to call me up and say, "Hey, scumbag, how you doing?" Well, anyway, that's how he always called me. And I went to Rets with him, and then he would tell me what Bill was up to. And Bill was a character. Anyway, uh, Thomas Vodzik died. He stayed at home. He was a stay-at-home father or dad, whatever. He didn't have kids, but he jumped off a scaffolding and injured his back. They operated on his back, and an infection set in. They got the infection settled, but then a stroke took him out. He was still in the hospital. He got a stroke and he died. Then Bill had found a Pez-sized lump on his by his breast. He went through chemo and everything. He was good for I think 2 years, and then it came back and got him. So I'm one of two guys that we hung together. We stayed in touch. But every once in a while, I'm in a dream, and I could be in Rets. I can be in high school. I can be in Rets. A lot of times I'm in Gordos in Bloomfield. I was a fire. I think I said a fire setter. One time I said I was a fire starter, but I was a fire setter with flames. We made mercury switches, and the reason he hired me was I worked in RCA, and I kept trying to tell him that I didn't work on the CLX machines in RCA. But that's in his mind. If I even knew what one of them was, he hired me because everybody. He's dead now too. The guy that owned oh God, Comus International. He's gone now too. But in other words, he says, "You know how many people I interview, and when I start talking to them, they have no idea what a seal is." Or I'm like, "Yeah, I knew that." Back then, it was Dumet leads. There were a couple different kinds of leads that went through the glass. You can't seal a steel pin to glass. So what you got to do is you got to put an oxide on it or a coating, and then you can put it through it to make an electron tube. And he's questioning me. His mouth drops open. I said, "I just know this stuff. I don't know. People tell me." And I listened to him. Anyway, so he hired me, and I got really good at mercury switches. But he didn't tell me he only hired the night shift for 9 months of the year. And he laid them off during the summer so they could take care of their kids. It was a bunch of women, housewives, that worked at the factory at night. And then when he goes, "I really didn't want to tell you. I knew you wouldn't stay." And I said, "Yeah, you're right. I'm out of here. I go home and tell my parents my job's only 9 months at a time. I don't want to be at that dinner table." But anyway, I left there and went with TRW after that. And anyway, I just wanted to tell you, every once in a while, I don't know if it happens to you, a phrase will come through your head. And it keeps coming through my head. And then I finally figure it out. And it's almost like my brain is testing the retention of things that I've learned. And it goes back sometimes really far. I can tell you people's names when I was younger. I learned them like 1, 2, 3. And every once in a while, I'll see a guy, when I was still in Jersey, and I go up to him, and he says, "How do you remember my name?" I said, "I don't know. I can just do that." And I hear they're amazed too, even though I'm older, and I learn their names. And sometimes they tell me the nickname, and then the next time they're trying to get me with the regular name, and I said, "Your nickname isn't like Sonny?" "Oh, yeah. I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, I said, "The last time I asked you, you said it was Sonny. Now he's trying to use Robert or whatever his other name is." But I just want to tell you, I just want to put something in the comment section if this happens to you. I have color dreams. A lot of my dreams are in color. They have to be. Otherwise, how could I tell one resistor from another? I have dreams where I'm repairing something. This sounds familiar now. That just won't get fixed. And that's it. Every time I work on this thing, and I'm like, I didn't really want to figure out how that shaft came out. And I sit and I think about it. I'm like, you know what? If I can pull that shaft out on this radio, on that band switch, and I can get that last module up, because I've done a module before on the other units, get it up and check it. And it should be the 100 picofarad cap that's in there. That's leaky, and it's shutting down the capacitance. It could be an open wire. It could be anything. It could be on the outside of the module too, where it goes in. But I have to check out the module first and then work backwards, I guess. I don't know. I always get a radio that somebody's been in, and it's cut a wire somewhere, or in the last case of the last radio, it was like a prototype. It had the wrong value of resistors in it, different than it, and it worked, but the gain wasn't good. And then I started working around on it, and then realized one set of schematics had a different value. And then I started looking, like, okay, this schematic's really for this model. And I changed the resistors, and they were under a plate. After I moved, anyway, that fixed what was wrong. I hated that radio. That radio was really hard. Now this one's got a whole different thing. I won't say this radio is possessed, but it's really hard to work on. And just when I thought I was done, like, you know what? A couple days, this will be on the pile with the rest of them. You know, the one guy said to make an AM adapter for this, or, you know, a converter. No, that's not what I want. Right now, the NC57 does everything I want a radio to do. I just like these old ones better. I don't know, they look cooler. All right, the NC57's 1950s, and it doesn't have that black front. And now this one doesn't have an S meter. The last one, I believe, had an S meter. See, I've done so many radios in the last 6 months. I'm losing my mind. And I don't mean just changing some tubes. I mean recapping, checking all the resistors, you know, repairing gears. That's why I tell you, when I find something I know you won't know, or you might run into, I make a video. Now this video was last night. It was in the middle of the night, and I'm laying there. Nebro is very simple now. When you're awake, you have more brain power than when you're half asleep. So as soon as the morning I got out of bed, I put my feet on the floor. I go, Nebro. He was the guy that built my CNC machine. Now I think he built the Brute. I think he built an early Brute. Yeah, and Manzer built. Oh, Manzer might have been not a Phoenix. It was bigger. It might. I don't know if it was the Robo one. Well, anyway, yeah, I had so many versions of plans for CNC machines, and I knew that once I saw they had I was getting into it, the 3D printers. I was doing it a different way. I was going to have it make stuff out of wax, and then you do the lost wax casting. And when I saw people making those damn tugboats, which is figure out how fast the machine is and all that. So everybody's making those stupid tugboats. And I saw that and I'm like, you know what? This is going downhill. I'm working with people that actually can build stuff. Now it's real bad. And I don't know if you watch Shango 66. He was disappointed on how low the views were on one of the videos. He actually said it. He says, I did a really good video. I thought you guys would really enjoy it. I watched it all the way through, and almost nobody's looking. And I went back and looked at all his videos, and he had much more viewers years ago. Now I have a few more than I used to have. I used to get, like, most of the time 50 views per video, and then some will hit, and after a couple of years they have 1,000 or so. And then lately, a few times I've hit where I had a lot of views. I'm looking at this. Oh man, I'm looking at something over there that I did. What? Oh, I see it. Wait, where's the capacitor though? All right, I see something I did. I cut the wires. Did I put the cap in there? All right, I see something. I might have disconnected something. It's not in this. Not in this section for the RF though. It's in the audio section. You know, I can't even remember, like 2 weeks ago working on this thing. I've changed so many things. Or let's put it this way. I've disconnected so many things, tested them, and then put a jumper on them and put them back. And it's hard to keep track of what, you know, if you keep working on one radio after another, you know, it's like if you ask me certain questions, I might not remember. I have to go look at the radio. But I think that's it. Pleasant dreams. That's it.